Question 1. Liability insurance. In a liability insurance policy, which of the following statements best describes how comparative negligence works in determining liability? A. The insured is completely barred from recovering damages if they are found to have contributed to their own injury. B. The insured can recover damages only if they were less than 50% responsible for their own injury. C. The insured's recovery is reduced in proportion to their degree of fault, regardless of the percentage. D. The insured can recover full damages unless they were more than 75% responsible for the injury. Answer. C. Explanation. Comparative negligence allows the insured to recover damages even if they are partially at fault, but their compensation is reduced according to their degree of responsibility. This rule is in contrast to contributory negligence, where any degree of fault can bar recovery entirely. Option A. Washington State follows a pure comparative negligence rule, meaning that even if the insured is more than 50% responsible, they can still recover damages, unlike option B. Option D is incorrect because there is no threshold of 75%. Relevant law. Washington follows the rule of pure comparative negligence under RCW 422005, which allows the reduction of damages based on the claimant's degree of fault. Question 2. Automobile insurance scenario based. Mr. Thompson was recently involved in a car accident in Washington where the other driver was at fault but had no insurance coverage. Mr. Thompson has an auto insurance policy that includes uninsured motorist coverage. Which of the following is true regarding Mr. Thompson's situation? A. Mr. Thompson will need to sue the other driver directly to recover his losses. B. Mr. Thompson's uninsured motorist coverage will cover the damages caused by the other driver. C. Mr. Thompson cannot recover any damages because the other driver is uninsured. D. Mr. Thompson's policy will not apply since Washington does not require coverage. Answer. B. Explanation. In Washington, uninsured motorist coverage is required to be offered by insurers, and it covers the insured when an at-fault driver has no insurance. Mr. Thompson can file a claim with his own insurance under this provision to recover damages caused by the uninsured driver. Option A is incorrect because coverage removes the need to sue directly for recovery. Option C is false, as coverage applies specifically to situations where the other driver is uninsured. Option D is incorrect because Washington does mandate that insurers offer coverage, although the insured can choose to reject it in writing. Relevant law. Under RCW 4822030, Washington requires that all auto insurers offer uninsured and insured motorist coverage unless the policyholder explicitly rejects it. Question 3. Claims and loss adjusting. Which of the following accurately describes the duties of an insured after a loss as required by standard casualty insurance policies? A. The insured is required to notify the insurer within 10 days of the loss, regardless of the situation. B. The insured must protect the damaged property from further loss, provide a detailed proof of loss, and cooperate with the insurer's investigation. C. The insured has no obligations after filing a claim, as the burden of proof is entirely on the insurer. D. The insured only needs to provide documentation if the insurer explicitly requests it in writing. Answer. B. Explanation. Under most casualty insurance policies, the insured has specific duties they must perform after a loss, such as protecting the property from further damage, providing proof of loss, and cooperating with the insurer's investigation. Option B. Failing to comply with these duties can lead to a denial of the claim. Option A is incorrect because there is no universal 10-day notification requirement, though timely notice is essential. Option C is incorrect because the insured is indeed required to assist in the claims process. Option D is false because documentation is typically required as part of the proof of loss process, not just when requested in writing. Relevant law. These duties align with standard insurance policy provisions and are reflected in Washington's Fair Claims Practices Act WAC 284-30370, which outlines the insured's responsibilities in the event of a loss. Question 4. Commercial general liability CGL. Which of the following is excluded under coverage? A commercial general liability CGL policy. A. Bodily injury to a customer who slips and falls in the insured store. B. Damage to a customer's property caused by the insured's negligence. C. Bodily injury to an employee of the insured during work hours. D. Property damage caused by the insured's defective product. Answer. C. Explanation. Coverage. A CGL policy covers bodily injury and property damage caused by the insured's business operations, but bodily injury to an employee is excluded because it is typically covered under workers' compensation insurance. Options A. B, and D fall within the scope of coverage A as they relate to bodily injury or property damage caused by the insured's negligence or defective products. Relevant law: Washington's Workers' Compensation Law, Bill 51, mandates coverage for employee injuries, thus excluding them from CGL policies. Question 5. Workers' compensation. An employer in Washington state hires an independent contractor for a short-term project. During the project, the independent contractor sustains an injury. Which of the following is correct regarding the employer's responsibility for workers' compensation coverage? A. The employer must provide workers' compensation coverage for the independent contractor. B. The independent contractor is responsible for their own workers' compensation coverage. C. The employer's liability insurance will cover the independent contractor's injury. D. Independent contractors are not eligible for any form of workers' compensation benefits. Answer: B. Explanation. In Washington, employers are generally not required to provide workers' compensation coverage for independent contractors as they are responsible for securing their own coverage. Option A is incorrect because independent contractors are typically excluded from employer-provided workers' compensation policies. Option C is incorrect because liability insurance does not substitute for workers' compensation. Option D is false, as independent contractors can obtain workers' compensation coverage for themselves. A relevant law: under RCW 5108-180, independent contractors are responsible for their own workers' compensation insurance, whereas employees must be covered by their employer. Question 6. Professional liability insurance. Which of the following is true regarding professional liability insurance, such as errors and omissions coverage? A. It covers claims related to property damage caused by the insured's professional services. B. It covers claims arising from the insured's failure to perform professional services that meet industry standards. C. It covers bodily injury resulting from the insured's professional negligence. D. It covers intentional acts that cause financial harm to clients. Answer: B. Explanation. Professional liability insurance, including errors and omissions coverage, protects professionals against claims arising from their failure to perform their services according to industry standards. It does not cover bodily injury, option C, property damage, option A, or intentional acts, option D, which are typically excluded from this type of policy. Relevant law: Washington professionals in various fields are often required to carry insurance to meet industry-specific regulations and protect against financial loss from negligence claims. Question 7. Uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. If an insured in Washington is involved in an accident where the other driver has insufficient insurance to cover all the damages, what role does underinsured motorist coverage play? A. It pays only the medical bills that exceed the at-fault driver's policy limits. B. It pays the remaining amount of damages after the at-fault driver's policy is exhausted up to the insured's policy limits. C. It provides no coverage unless the at-fault driver has no insurance at all. D. It will pay for the insured's damages, but only after a lawsuit has been filed against the at-fault driver. Answer: B. Explanation. In Washington, underinsured motorist coverage steps in when the at-fault driver's insurance is insufficient to cover all damages. It pays the remaining damages up to the policy limits. Option A is incorrect because coverage applies to more than just medical bills. Option C is incorrect because covers underinsured drivers, not just uninsured ones. Option D is incorrect as no lawsuit is required to trigger benefits. Relevant law: under RCW 4822030, Washington requires that coverage be offered to drivers, providing protection when the at-fault driver's insurance is inadequate. Question 8. Pollution liability insurance. Which of the following is most likely to be covered under a pollution liability insurance policy? A. Bodily injury to an employee exposed to chemicals on the job. B. Legal liability for environmental damage caused by a spill at a company's factory. C. Medical expenses for employees with long-term illness due to pollution exposure. D. Fines and penalties imposed by environmental regulatory agencies. Answer: B. Explanation. Pollution liability insurance typically covers legal liability for environmental damage caused by a company's operations, such as a spill, option B. It generally does not cover bodily injury, option A, or medical expenses, option C, which are addressed by workers' compensation insurance. Fines and penalties, option D, are often excluded from coverage as they are considered uninsurable by public policy. Relevant law: Washington's pollution control law, Aria Licencia Point 300, regulate the liability for environmental damage, and pollution liability insurance helps cover the financial risks associated with such liabilities. Question 9. Umbrella and excess liability insurance. Which of the following best describes the purpose of an umbrella insurance policy? A. It replaces the insured's primary liability insurance policy. B. It provides additional liability coverage once the underlying policy limits have been exhausted. C. It covers losses not included in the insured's primary liability policy, but only up to the primary policy's limits. D. It automatically pays any claim made against the insured, regardless of fault. Answer B. Explanation. Umbrella insurance provides additional liability coverage after the limits of the insured's primary policy have been exhausted. Option B. It does not replace the primary policy. Option A. Nor does it cover losses beyond the primary policy scope within the primary limits. Option C. Option D is incorrect, as umbrella insurance does not pay all claims automatically. Claims must still meet policy conditions. Relevant law. Umbrella policies are subject to Washington's financial responsibility laws, and they provide a secondary layer of protection when primary policies are exhausted. Question 10. Homeowners insurance. Under a typical homeowners insurance policy, which of the following is generally excluded from liability coverage? A. Injuries to a guest who slips on the insured's icy driveway. B. Damage caused to a neighbor's property by a tree falling from the insured's yard. C. Injuries to the insured's child while playing in the backyard. D. Injuries to a delivery person who trips over the insured's garden hose. Answer C. Explanation. A standard homeowners insurance policy typically excludes liability coverage for injuries to the insured or members of their household. Option C. It covers injuries to guests. Option A. And third parties. Option D. And damage to other people's property. Option B. But injuries to family members are excluded, as they are generally covered under health insurance or a different policy. Relevant law. Washington homeowners policies follow standard industry exclusions for family members, aligning with RCW 48.18 regarding the scope of property and liability insurance policies. Question 11. Business owners policy BOP. Which of the following is typically covered under a business owners policy BOP? A. Bodily injury to an employee who is injured on the job. B. Loss of income due to a fire that damages the insured's property. C. Damage to a company-owned vehicle involved in a collision. D. Losses due to employee dishonesty. Answer B. Explanation. A business owner's policy BOP typically covers loss of income due to property damage, such as a fire. Option B. Employee injuries. Option A. Are covered under workers' compensation. Vehicle damage. Option C. Requires commercial auto insurance, and employee dishonesty. Option D. Would be covered under a separate fidelity bond or crime policy. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4818290 outlines coverage for business property and loss of income, while specific exclusions like auto insurance and workers' compensation are addressed under other policies. Question 12. Inland marine insurance. Which of the following best describes what inland marine insurance typically covers? A. Fixed properties such as buildings and real estate. B. Goods and equipment while they are in transit. C. Automobiles used for business purposes. D. Damage caused by flood or earthquake. Answer B. Explanation. Inland marine insurance provides coverage for goods, equipment, and property while in transit. Option B. Often used for contractors or businesses transporting valuable items. Fixed property, option A, is covered by property insurance. Automobiles, option C, are covered under auto insurance, and flood or earthquake coverage, option D, typically requires a separate policy. Relevant law. Washington follows the nationwide marine definition, which classifies inland marine insurance as covering personal property in transit, excluding fixed property and automobiles. Question 13. Commercial property insurance. Which of the following perils is typically excluded from a standard commercial property insurance policy unless endorsed? A. Fire. B. Windstorm. C. Earthquake. D. Vandalism. Answer C. Explanation. A standard commercial property insurance policy typically excludes earthquake damage, option C, unless specifically added by endorsement. Fire, option A, windstorm, option B, and vandalism, option D, are generally covered perils in standard commercial property policies. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 48.18 addresses standard coverage forms for property insurance, where earthquake coverage must be added separately through endorsement. Question 14. Flood insurance. Which of the following is true about flood insurance under the National Flood Insurance Program? And FIPA is automatically included in standard homeowners insurance policies. B. It covers damage from rising water caused by a storm or heavy rain. C. It covers water damage from broken pipes inside the home. D. It is available only to homeowners in high-risk flood zones. Answer B. Explanation. Flood insurance under the NFIP covers damage from rising water, such as that caused by storms or heavy rain. Option B. It is not included in standard homeowners policies. Option A. Water damage from broken pipes. Option C. Is covered under homeowners insurance, and flood insurance is available to homeowners in both high-risk and low-risk areas. Option D. Relevant law. Flood insurance availability and regulation are governed by the Federal Flood Insurance Act, and Washington participates in the NFIP to provide coverage for flood risks. Question 15. Commercial auto insurance. Which of the following vehicles is typically covered under a commercial auto insurance policy? A. A personal vehicle used by the owner occasionally for business errands. B. A delivery van owned by the company and used for business deliveries. C. A customer's vehicle parked on the business premises. D. A rental car used by an employee while on vacation. Answer B. Explanation. Commercial auto insurance typically covers vehicles owned by a business and used for business purposes, such as a delivery van. Option B. Personal vehicles. Option A. Used occasionally for business require separate endorsement. Customer vehicles. Option C. Would fall under garagekeeper's liability, and rental cars. Option D. On vacation would be covered by personal auto or travel insurance. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4629090 requires businesses to carry commercial auto insurance for vehicles used in business operations. Question 16. Builder's risk insurance. Which of the following best describes the purpose of builder's risk insurance? A. To cover a construction worker's injuries during a building project. B. To cover the cost of repairing a completed building after a storm. C. To cover the insured property while it is under construction. D. To cover legal liabilities arising from construction-related accidents. Answer C. Explanation. Builder's risk insurance provides coverage for a property while it is under construction. Option C. It does not cover construction worker injuries. Option A, as those are covered under workers' compensation. Repairs to a completed building. Option B would be covered under property insurance. Legal liabilities. Option D would be covered under liability insurance. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 48.18 requires builders to carry appropriate coverage during the construction phase to protect against damage or loss. Question 17. Surety bonds. Which of the following is the primary purpose of a surety bond? A. To provide liability protection for the bondholder. B. To guarantee the completion of a contractual obligation. C. To cover losses due to theft by the bonded party. D. To provide insurance coverage for defective products. Answer B. Explanation. A surety bond is a financial guarantee that a contractual obligation will be fulfilled. Option B. It does not provide liability protection. Option A. Or cover theft. Option C. It also does not cover defective products. Option D, as this would be covered by a product liability insurance policy. Relevant law. In Washington, RCW 19.72 regulates the use of surety bonds, particularly in construction and contractual agreements, ensuring financial accountability for projects. Question 18. Business interruption insurance. Business interruption insurance covers which of the following? A. Lost revenue when a business is shut down due to covered peril. B. The cost of repairing physical damage to the business property. C. Legal expenses resulting from a lawsuit against the business. D. The cost of moving to a new location after a natural disaster. Answer A. Explanation. Business interruption insurance covers lost revenue when a business is temporarily shut down due to a covered peril. Option A. It does not cover property repairs. Option B. Legal expenses. Option C. Or relocation costs. Option D. Which may require other types of insurance coverage. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4818290 requires insurance policies to clearly outline coverage for business interruption due to covered perils like fires or natural disasters. Question 19. Equipment breakdown insurance. Which of the following is typically covered under equipment breakdown insurance? A. Damage caused by employee negligence. B. Replacement costs for office furniture damaged in a fire. C. Repair costs for a computer system that fails due to a power surge. D. Legal liability for injuries caused by malfunctioning equipment. See explanation. Equipment breakdown insurance covers repair costs for equipment that fails due to mechanical or electrical issues, such as a power surge option C. It does not cover employee negligence option A or fire damage option B, which are covered by other policies. Legal liability for injuries option D is covered by liability insurance. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4818550 mandates the availability of equipment breakdown insurance to businesses that rely on specialized machinery or technology. Question 20. Cyber liability insurance. Which of the following incidents would most likely be covered by cyber liability insurance? A. Loss of revenue due to a fire at the business's data center. B. Legal expenses from a customer lawsuit over a data breach. C. Damage to office equipment caused by a computer virus. D. Theft of employee payroll funds due to fraudulent email communication. Answer. B. Explanation. Cyber liability insurance typically covers legal expenses and financial losses resulting from data breaches, such as a customer lawsuit over the breach option B. Fire damage option A and equipment damage option C are covered by other types of insurance. Theft of funds through fraudulent email option D would likely require a separate crime insurance policy. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 19.255 outlines strict requirements for businesses to protect consumer data, and cyber liability insurance helps cover the legal and financial risks of non-compliance. Question 21. Fidelity bond. A fidelity bond provides coverage for which of the following? A. Losses due to employee theft or dishonesty. B. Losses due to fire damage to company property. C. Liability for injuries sustained by customers on the premises. D. Lost revenue due to business interruption. Answer. A. Explanation. A fidelity bond covers losses caused by employee theft or dishonesty option A, fire damage option B, liability for injuries option C, and business interruption option D require other forms of insurance coverage. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 48.28 governs the issuance of fidelity bonds to protect businesses from internal losses caused by employees' dishonest actions. Question 22. Personal auto insurance. Which of the following is typically covered under a personal auto insurance policy? A. Medical expenses for passengers injured in an accident. B. Damage to a rented vehicle while it is in use. C. Loss of personal belongings stolen from a locked vehicle. D. Damage to a vehicle owned by a family member living in another state. Answer. A. Explanation. Personal auto insurance typically covers medical expenses for passengers injured in an accident option A. Damage to a rented vehicle option B often requires additional rental car coverage. Personal belongings theft option C may be covered under homeowners or renters insurance, and damage to another family member's vehicle option D would be subject to the specific terms of the policy. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 46.30 outlines coverage requirements for personal auto insurance, including medical payments for occupants. Question 23. Umbrella insurance. What is the primary purpose of umbrella insurance? A. To provide additional liability coverage above existing policies. B. To cover property damage caused by natural disasters. C. To replace lost or stolen personal belongings. D. To cover legal fees for business-related lawsuits. Answer. A. Explanation. Umbrella insurance is designed to provide additional liability coverage beyond the limits of existing policies. Option A. It does not specifically cover property damage from natural disasters. Option B. Or replace lost belongings. Option C. Nor does it cover business legal fees. Option D. Which would require a different type of liability insurance. Relevant law. In Washington, umbrella policies complement standard liability coverage as outlined in RCW 48.17, providing an extra layer of financial protection. Question 24. Workers' compensation insurance. Which of the following is typically covered by workers' compensation insurance? A. Lost wages due to an employee's voluntary resignation. B. Medical expenses for an employee injured on the job. C. Legal fees for a lawsuit filed against the employer. D. Damages for emotional distress from workplace harassment. Answer. B. Explanation. Workers' compensation insurance covers medical expenses for employees injured while performing their job duties. Option B. It does not cover lost wages from voluntary resignation. Option A. Legal fees for lawsuits. Option C. Or damages for emotional distress. Option D, as those issues would require separate legal action or insurance coverage. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 51.4 governs workers' compensation, providing specific benefits and coverage for job-related injuries and illnesses. Question 25. Homeowners insurance. Which of the following perils is typically excluded from a standard homeowners insurance policy? A. Theft of personal property. B. Fire damage to the dwelling. C. Damage caused by a flood. D. Liability for injuries sustained by a guest. Answer: C. Explanation. A standard homeowners insurance policy typically excludes flood damage. Option C. Unless additional flood insurance is purchased. Theft. Option A. Fire damage. Option B. And liability for guest injuries. Option D. Are usually covered under standard homeowners policies. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4818290 outlines standard exclusions and coverage in homeowners insurance, emphasizing the need for separate flood policies. Question 26. Commercial General Liability Insurance (CGL). Which of the following claims would be covered under a Commercial General Liability (CGL) insurance policy? A. Damage to the insured's own property. B. Bodily injury to a third party occurring on the insured's premises. C. Employee injuries while performing their job duties. D. Damage to a competitor's property due to advertising. Answer: B. Explanation. A commercial general liability (CGL) insurance policy typically covers bodily injury to a third party occurring on the insured's premises. Option B. It does not cover damage to the insured's own property. Option A. Employee injuries. Option C. Or damage to a competitor's property due to advertising. Option D. Which may require different types of coverage. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 4801030 establishes guidelines for liability coverage, including commercial general liability policies. Question 27. Equipment floater insurance. What type of coverage does an equipment floater insurance policy provide? A. Coverage for equipment that is permanently installed in a building. B. Coverage for equipment while it is being transported from one location to another. C. Coverage for damage to rented equipment. D. Coverage for equipment used exclusively for personal purposes. Answer: B. Explanation. An equipment floater insurance policy provides coverage for equipment while it is being transported. Option B. Or at various job sites. It does not cover permanently installed equipment. Option A. Rented equipment. Option C. Or personal use equipment. Option D. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 48.18 allows for the issuance of equipment floater policies ensuring coverage for mobile or job-specific equipment. Question 20. Title insurance. What is the primary purpose of title insurance? A. To protect against damage to the physical property. B. To protect against losses arising from defects in the title. C. To cover property taxes owed by the homeowner. D. To provide liability coverage for accidents occurring on the property. Answer: B. Explanation. The primary purpose of title insurance is to protect against losses arising from defects in the title, such as undisclosed liens or ownership disputes. Option B. It does not cover physical property damage. Option A. Property taxes. Option C. Or liability for accidents. Option D. Which require other types of insurance. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 48.29 governs title insurance, outlining the protections it provides during real estate transactions. Question 29. Professional liability insurance. Which of the following professionals would most likely require professional liability insurance? A. A contractor performing home renovations. B. A dentist providing dental services. C. A retail store owner selling merchandise. D. A landscaper maintaining lawns. Answer: B. Explanation. Professional liability insurance is primarily required for professionals providing services that could result in financial loss or injury, such as a dentist. Option B. Contractors. Option A. And landscapers. Option D. Typically carry general liability insurance, while retail store owners. Option C. Need commercial property and liability coverage. Relevant law. Washington's RCW 18.130 requires certain professions, including healthcare, to maintain professional liability insurance to protect against malpractice claims. Question 30. Flood insurance. What is a key characteristic of the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP)? A. It covers all types of flooding without any limitations. B. It is mandatory for all homeowners in flood-prone areas. C. It provides coverage only for structures, not contents. D. It is administered by private insurance companies. Answer B. Explanation. The National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP) is designed to provide flood insurance to property owners, renters, and businesses. While it offers coverage for both structures and contents, it is not mandatory for all homeowners but required for properties with federally backed mortgages in designated flood zones. Option B. Flood insurance is not comprehensive for all flooding scenarios. Option A, and does cover both structures and contents. Option C. The NFIP is administered by the federal government, not private insurance companies. Option D. Relevant law. The Flood Disaster Protection Act of 1973 and subsequent legislation established the NFIP, detailing requirements and coverage options for properties in flood-prone areas.